Fantastic, team. Just concentrating on that breath. If you find your mind wanders, just bringing it back again to that breath. Only concentrating on that. Just starting to notice any niggles, anything that's a little bit tighter, more painful. Just scanning through your body. Just noticing, not dwelling, but just noticing, moving on. Just with your next exhale, open your eyes gently. Just looking forward, nice, easy gaze forward. Come down into child's pose to start. Take your hands to the edge of your mat. Walk your knees back a little bit if you have to. Big toes come together and you're just going to push back. Drop the forehead onto the mat. Pushing those hips back over those heels. Knees can be as wide as necessary to get yourself back into that position. Spread the fingers. Keep the pressure through the middle of the palm. Take another couple breaths here. On your next exhale, just come up onto your hands and your knees. Wrists stacked under your shoulders. Alright, nice flat back to start off with. You're going to inhale, round your back, tuck your chin in. Hold that there. Next time you exhale, arching the back, pulling the shoulder blades together, looking forward, tilting the hips. We're going to roll through this a few times here. For the next minute or so, just in your own time, breathing in and arching or hunching the back, tucking the chin in, the hips under, tucking the tailbone down, and on an exhale, arching the back, pulling the shoulder blades together, mobilizing the spine here. We start with a little bit more dynamic movement this morning. We're going to loosen up the joints, warm up the muscles just a little bit before we get into some static stretching to finish us off, so still stretching towards the end. Another few seconds here. Team, and just coming back to your tabletop position, nice neutral back. Take the hands back out to the edge of the mat, coming back down into your child's pose again. Taking some nice big deep breaths. Drop the forehead onto the mat. You're going to walk your hands out to your right hand side, keeping them the same distance apart. Dropping the forehead back down again. Relax that left shoulder. You'll want to tighten up and jump up towards your ear. Trying to drop it back down towards the floor. The space that you've opened up on your left hand side. Trying to aim your breath, filling that side of your body. And just walking your hands back to center, pushing those hips back over the heels just a little bit more. And walk your hands out to the left-hand side this time. Same thing. Drop the head. Drop that right shoulder. Don't let that come up around the ear. Pushing that right hip back over the right heel. Don't let that come too far up either. Filling that space that you've created in the right hand side of your body with your breath. And bringing your hands back to the center. Alright team, we're going to roll through a little bit of a yoga flow here. We're going to go through it 3 times, holding it a little bit longer each time, each pose. Going to build a little bit of heat, get the muscles working just a little bit here, and then we'll slow it back down afterwards, alright? So from that child's pose position that you're in now, I want you just to place your hands and your feet on your mat and coming back into your down dog position. We're going to hold here for just a little bit for now. First time here today, I want you to relax the neck, the head, even pressure through the hands and the feet. Spread the fingers, spread the toes, pushing your chest towards your thighs, your tailbone towards the ceiling, and your heels towards the floor. If you're flat on the floor already, fantastic. If not, just give those feet a little pedal, stretching through the calves. And you're just going to walk to the edge of your mat, coming down into a forward fold here, team, reaching down towards the floor. If you've got super tight hamstrings or sore lower back, anything like that, bend the knees slightly. Feel free to keep the legs straight. Just hug the elbows. Really folding down, team. Nice hunched back. Nice big deep breath in. Roll yourself up. Hands come up together above us. And we're just going to lean back. A little bit further if you can. Just come to standing straight. Bring your hands down by your side. Take a big deep breath. Just check in here. And we'll carry on. Alright team, let's roll through some vinyasa here. Alright team, so with me, take the hands up above the head, big deep breath in, bend back slightly as we come down into our big forward fold. Take the arms nice and wide down to the mat, trying to touch those toes if we can. From here team, you're just going to roll back up to a half lift, hands on the knees, back nice and flat, and back down into our forward fold. Hands come down to the mat, step yourself back into a high plank position. I'm not going to hold this long this time around, just a few seconds. Hips come down to the mat, top of your feet down to the mat, and pushing yourself up, stretching out the core, looking up towards the ceiling. From here, team, just tuck your toes back under, pushing yourself back again into your downward dog position. Trying to push those heels just a little bit further to the floor than they were before. And walking yourself to the edge of your mat, holding that forward fold, stretching those hamstrings. Take a big deep breath in. Bring the arms up above the head. Bend back slightly. Release, bring the hands back to heart center. That's fine. We're going to roll through that cycle 2 more times, holding the positions just a little bit longer each time. From hands at heart center here, take a big deep breath, sweep them up over your head, bending back just a little bit further than we have so far. Take them wide, sweep them down to the floor, into our forward fold. Hands come up to the knees, into our half lift. Nice flat back, looking forward, and bending back down into our fold. Hands come down to the mat, step it back into our high plank. Gonna hold this here for a little bit longer this time. Wrists under the shoulders, spread the fingers, nice pressure through the hands and the feet. Push the heels back, activate the glutes, help you out a little bit. And bring those hips down to the mat. Top of the feet, push yourself back, up towards the ceiling. Squeeze the glutes. Curl the toes back under, push yourself back into your downward dog position. And walking to the front of your mat, to that half, or that forward fold, sorry. Should be reaching a little bit further each time. Just warming up these muscles. Big inhale, sweep the hands up above the head. Stretching backwards. Release, bring the hands back to heart center. That's 2, we got 1 more. Gonna hold each of those just for a little bit longer this time round. 1 more time, team. Sweep the hands up above, bending back. Just a little bit further. Sweeping down, reaching down towards the toes, folding forwards. Let the head be heavy, hang the arms, hang the neck. Bring yourself back up into the half lift. Hands on your knees, looking slightly forward, nice flat back, and fold yourself back down. Reaching just a little bit further. Hands come down to the mat, step yourself back into that high plank position. Holding here for about 30 seconds this time, team. Nice pressure through the fingers, through the palms. Push the heels back, activate the core and the legs to help you out. If you need to drop that at any point, just get down to the mat, into the upward dog position. In 3, 2, coming down to the mat, hips and the top of your feet touching the mat, and pushing your chest up to the ceiling, looking up. Tuck the toes back under, push yourself back to your downward dog position. Just pedal through the feet slightly. Just bending one knee, then the other. Walking yourself to the front of your mat, holding that forward fold, reaching down towards the toes. And with 1 big breath, take the arms wide, up above the head, bend back slightly. Bring your hands to heart center. Whew, well done, team. Alright, let's slow it down a little bit. Hopefully we enjoyed that one. Alright, just coming down onto your mat, knees at 90 and 90. Let's go right leg forward first, just so we're all on the same page. I can say the same thing. Right leg forward, 90-degree bend here. 90-degree bend in the back leg, your left leg. Alright, and we're just moving ourselves forward, keeping our chest up, pushing ourselves forward. Alright, not too far. Alright, if we're not feeling the stretch through the front of the hip flexor, try to tilt your hips, pull your tailbone down towards the floor. Alright, that's going to help give you a stretch through the front of your hip flexor and your quad. Just holding this here for another 20 seconds. If you need a little bit extra, the leg that's back, take that hand up to the ceiling and just bend over and back slightly. Alright, the other option is to take that same hand, grab that back leg and just pull that heel towards you. I can't do that. It will cramp in about 3 seconds time. If you need a little bit extra though, that's the best way to get it. Alright team, relax that stretch just a little bit. Walk that front foot out to straight, heel on the mat, and you're just going to pull those toes back towards you. Leaning forward into the stretch here. We're stretching that right hamstring now through the back of the leg. If you want some extra stretch here, alright, take the chest as far down as you can. Take the opposite hand to those toes. Do as I say, not as I do here, team. I'm terribly inflexible. Alright team, just coming onto your other leg now. Left leg comes forward, knees back at 90 and 90. And you're going to push yourself forward. Stretching through that right hip now, opening that up. Remember, if you need a little bit more, hand comes up, just over and back slightly. Or you can take that back foot and grab it. Stuff team. Just walk that front foot out, heel onto the mat, pull those toes back towards you, leaning forward into that hamstring stretch on the left hand side. About 10 minutes left here team. Much more relaxed now. All static stretch here. We're going to open up the hips. Alright, and just coming back onto both knees. Hands come onto the mat in front of you. Toes tuck under. We're just going to push ourselves into that downward dog position again. Shift your weight onto your left foot. Take the right foot up behind. Bring your right knee in behind your right wrist. Lengthen that back leg out towards the back of the mat. As you get comfortable, coming down from your hands onto your elbows, or even taking the hands further out in front. So our half pigeon here, team. Knee up by our elbow on the right hand side. I just want you to roll through the stretch here. Feel it in the hip joint. Just moving around to find the greatest point of resistance or stretch. Just holding there for a few seconds. Just mobilizing that joint. Coming back up onto your hands. We're going to stay here just for a little bit longer. Just rolling through that a little bit more. Giving yourself a little bit more freedom just to feel that stretch. Feel the hip joint starting to mobilize just a little bit more. Just shifting your weight side to side. Taking your leg back out, back into our downward dog position. Holding here for a few seconds. You're going to slowly shift your weight to your right hand side. Take the left leg up behind. And then bring that left knee in behind the left wrist. Walking that right leg back to the mat, lengthening it as far as you can. When you find that you're comfortable, coming down onto your forearms, your elbows. Same thing, team. Just shifting your weight around a little bit here, just to try and find that greatest pinch point. Placing your hands back on the mat. Same thing, just shifting that weight side to side. A little bit more movement and freedom here. Just to mobilize that hip joint just a little bit more. And coming back now into our child's pose position. Knees wide, big toes come together, and rest our forehead on the mat. From this position, team, you're going to take your left hand, palm up to the ceiling, and thread it under your right arm, resting your left ear on the mat. Nice stretch and mobilization through the shoulder, through the upper back. Pushing the hips back. Broadening your back with every breath. And bringing that back now to our child's pose position. Just rest here for a second. Take your right hand, palm up to the ceiling, under your left arm, and resting that right ear on the mat. Keeping the hips pushed back. Broadening through the upper back with every breath. Back to our child's pose position here, team. Just coming back onto your knees. And just however's comfortable, just finding your way to your bum. Legs out in front. Pull the toes back towards. Take a big deep breath. Sweep the hands up over top. And on an exhale, folding forward. Trying to reach out towards those toes. Remember, if you have very tight hamstrings or a sore lower back, just bend the knees slightly, or just aim slightly shorter of the feet, grabbing the shins, the ankles, the knees, whatever you can get. There's no judgment here. Alright team, onto your back now, just rolling down. Taking both knees to the chest. Just rocking side to side, releasing the lower back here. Excuse me. Take your left leg out straight, pulling that right leg into the chest. Bringing both knees back in again, grabbing that left leg, taking the right leg out straight, pulling the left leg into the chest. And letting that left leg out straight as well. Bring yourself back up. I'm going to turn just so you guys can see here. You're going to take your legs nice and wide. Bring one leg in so the bottom of our foot is touching our inner thigh here. You're just going to lean out towards your hamstring. Taking the opposite hand if you can, all the way out to those toes. Pulling those toes back towards you. Alright, bear with me here team. This leg that you've got inside, take that outwards now. Heel comes to your bum, alright? And on that same angle, you're just going to lean back, come down onto your elbow if you need to, alright? You should feel the stretch through the quad. Alright, left leg out straight, right leg bent in behind, right heel on our bum. Stuff team, take that right leg out straight, bring that left leg inside. Bottom of our foot's touching our right thigh now, leaning out towards our right toes, grabbing the hamstrings, grab the toes, stretching the hamstring. Just a couple minutes left here team. I hope everyone's doing well. Hope you're relaxed. Just as we come into these final minutes, just focusing a little bit more on your breath, bringing yourself back to your surroundings a little bit more. Just feel the senses working. Same thing team, you're going to take that left leg now, left heel.
So bendy.
Comes to our bum, and we're just going to lean back on that same angle, stretching through the front of the hip flexor and the quad. If you're not quite feeling it, come right down to the ground. I can't show you. Something will snap. Alright, so you're just coming to a seated position now. Soles of our feet come together. Just grab the toes. If you're comfortable staying in that position, team, what you're going to do, come back to your mat. If you're not there already, just take the soles of the feet together, coming down onto your back. Alright, letting the knees drop a little bit more naturally now. If you want, you could just take the legs out to a straightened position. Just going to stretch my hips just a little bit more. When you take your hands, just rest them at your side, 45-degree angle, palms facing upwards. I want you to close your eyes here, team. Just take some big deep breaths in through the nose, hold it for a few seconds, and out through the mouth. Just focusing on your breath here. At any point you just want to take those legs out straight, that's absolutely fine. Those hips are starting to hurt, cramp or anything, just take them out straight. Take your big deep breaths, just letting the breath come back to natural just a little bit. Still concentrating on it, but not forcing it in any way. Just take a moment to think about how you feel. We relaxed enough? Are we stretched? Take a few more minutes. When you're done, just to bring yourself back into your surroundings. Opening the eyes here, team, on your next exhale, just nice and gently, taking the legs out straight. And just coming up onto your knees or your bum, whatever's comfortable. 32 minutes from start to finish. Not too bad. You guys are done, team. That was fantastic. I hope we're feeling stretched. I hope we're feeling relaxed.